Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Enlighten the Youth. Today, we're doing a bit of a different episode. We're essentially just sitting out in the brewery district in Edmonton and just grabbing some insight from random strangers that are walking by on how do you cope with the uncertainties of life, which is a question for today. It's a 1-minute podcast. We just bring people on, they give some quick insight, and then we're on to the next. So, hope you guys enjoy. Question that we're asking today,
how do you deal with uncertainty?
Exactly. How do you cope with uncertainties in your life?
I know it's tough. It's a deep question, but
Do I have time to think about it?
Yeah, no, go for it. We've had a few people that asked, they're like, give me a minute, they'll circle through
walk
the
around
store,
and
and then they'll come back and like,
What-
okay, I'm ready.
Well, let's talk about it. Like, what are some answers? And I'm not trying to like parrot any answers or
Yeah.
whatever, but because like I guess like the immediate things that come to mind is like actually like just going to the gym.
Yeah.
Like just hitting the gym, having a good workout, right?
I agree.
Exactly.
Or spending time with like good friends, just having conversations, and it doesn't always need to be like exactly talking about the thing, but just sometimes like having somebody that you know and you trust and you can just talk to openly about whatever. It just seems
Yeah.
like it's just like a pressure relief, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You know
So,
what I mean? Are you guys filming right now?
yeah,
okay,
we are.
cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
and
It's
then,
probably better anyways.
Yeah, I
exactly,
think so,
yeah.
right?
Candid,
yeah, exactly. So you're saying more so just taking it moment, or like being in the present moment. If you have uncertainties that you get caught up in, just go to the gym, have a talk with friends, relieve that pressure,
Yeah.
rather than stressing about something you don't
Yeah.
have control over.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, well, there's things that you can control and there's things that you can't control.
Yes.
Right. So let's say if I get laid off from my job today,
Mm-hmm.
that's not something. Well, I've got things that I can influence in that situation, but there's not direct things that I can always control.
Yep.
So if that does happen, for me to come here to the gym or call friends or talk to friends or family or those kind of things, like those are the things that I always have control of. I've got choice whether I go to the gym or not. That's completely in my control every day.
Yep.
Whether I call friends and have conversations with them, that is in my control.
Mm-hmm.
If I call my family and all those kind of things, like those are within my control, but there's other things that are completely outside of my control. Like I find that when I was younger, I would try and control all of these things,
Yeah.
and I'd try and hang on to them so tight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was impossible.
Yeah.
And after like so many failures or frustrations, you kind of like begin to let go of those things
Mm-hmm.
and just focus on the things that you have more control of or that you can constantly control,
Yeah.
like i.e. going to the gym or whatever, you know?
Yeah. No, that
Yeah.
makes sense. And so when you have dealt with difficult situations in the past, what is your go-to coping method, or what do you take control of in those situations?
When there's like high uncertainty.
Or no, when you've dealt with
when-
difficult situations in your past. Is going to the gym just a nice way to ease things off and just take control of what you do have power over? Or do you reach out to people? What is your go-to method?
It's a good question. I think so. Like in all honesty, like I've started like multiple different businesses in the past.
That's awesome.
So there's like an incredible amount of uncertainty,
Yes.
right? And so every day, like even going into those business ventures, I felt like really confident that I would be successful, and quickly I felt like I was failing 80% of the time. So like having that like confidence at the start,
Yeah.
and it feels like you're literally getting kicked in the teeth
Yeah.
constantly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And for me, I quickly understood like there's not one for sure thing, but it's like setting up like normal daily or weekly routines to help cope with that,
Yeah.
right? Because it was constant uncertainty, it was constant overwhelm, it was
Yeah.
constant things that I couldn't control or that I didn't even think about thinking about.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And so like going to the gym or like reading or having constant outlets of
Yep.
like combating that
That's
stuff was
interesting.
more important.
Yes.
Because it was like, I know I'm going to go out there and get kicked in the teeth today. I don't
Yeah.
know when or how or what that's
Yes.
going to look like. So if I go to the gym first, or if I read a book on a topic that I know I'm currently struggling with,
Yeah.
it's like I'm preactively trying to combat where I feel like I'm failing hard.
Yes.
And I know there's uncertainty, and it's almost like you're diving into the waters of sharks.
Yeah.
But I'm going in there anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get bit. I don't know how bad, what that's gonna look like, but
That's
maybe
very
I'll put some
interesting.
chainmail on my legs
Yes.
a little bit today.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's tough.
basically creating certain tasks
Yeah.
to deal with your uncertain
Yeah.
outcomes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting way to put it, but
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Because it's too intense. Like you can't be like, oh, today I'm gonna go to the gym because somebody said no to me. If you get 8 out of 10 no's, you're going to the gym all day. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So it's not like 1+1.
Yes.
You know, it's like a yin and the yang. Like out of the negative, like how big is your spot of positive, or out of the positive, how big is your spot of negative? And it's just you need to find your own balance.
So you got to make up for the fact you know that you're going to
Yeah.
get kicked in the teeth today. So you got to treat yourself in however
Yeah.
you find that, whether it be
Yeah.
going to the gym, reading, just
Yeah.
treat yourself in that way.
Yeah, and for me specifically, I find like getting those positive things in first in the day, it helps me mentally prepare or set up for the potential chaos throughout the rest of the day,
Yep.
so that I'm better set up. And then if I can do, like one other thing that I did a lot of in the past is I would do like a lot of long distance running, and for me it was like a meditative state. So I could get out and go for a run, like whether like it felt like I needed like 45 minutes to an hour of running to like get through, like to let go of all this negative stuff.
Yeah.
And I would just listen to the music that I was like enjoying the most at the time. So I
Yeah.
would have an enjoyment, like a mental enjoyment of listening to the music, but the meditative state of like running.
Yep.
And the endorphins, like the positive,
The dopamine and everything surging
after
through.
it was
Yes.
like it just gave me the goodness that I needed, and so
Yeah.
that was like it was easy. But again, I had full control whether I went for a jog at the end of the day or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Whether I had a huge amount of rejection or failure throughout the day is irrelevant.
Yep.
But I could put that in at the end of my day and still like get my rest, my mental rest,
Yep.
even though it's physically strenuous. You
That
know what
makes
I mean?
sense. Yes, I know
Yeah.
from personal experience, just like starting off the day with a run or finishing it off really helps you
Yeah.
ease off all of that stress from the day.
Yeah.
And I find that some people get it the wrong way sometimes. They're like,
Yeah.
I need to go home, just lay back and watch TV. It's the opposite I find for
Yeah.
myself as well.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome advice. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
What
man,
was
cool.
your name?
My name is Coleman.
Coleman.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. My name's Roman.
Roman.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, man.
Really
Awesome.
appreciate it, man.
You guys are doing good stuff.
I
like
appreciate
this.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Hello again. It's Roman. And today we're sitting here with
I'm Sean.
Sean. And today the question is, like I briefly said to you, how do you cope with uncertainties in life?
So I feel like as I've grown up, I've understood like uncertainties aren't always a bad thing, and I feel like in life you're just gonna have so many uncertainties, and the best thing you do is you just gotta go through them and experience them. There's gonna be ups and downs, but at the end of the day, you're gonna learn from it, and that's what life I feel is all about. Is just learning through uncertainties, and yeah, it's a positive thing at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
you just gotta go through it.
So taking the uncertainties as they come, and just knowing that you're gonna learn from the experience regardless of what it is.
Yeah, and just seeing it more as a positive thing, and whatever comes out of it, you're gonna get something out of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how have you dealt with, let's say, a difficult situation in the past, and how did you cope with it and go about it past that experience?
I mean, usually like, you go through the motions. Something bad happens, you probably get upset, but then you start to kind of get out of that headspace, and you stop feeling bad for yourself. And I think you just try your best to make a positive experience out of it, and just learn from it, and just move on.
Yeah. That's amazing, man.
Cool.
Awesome. So
Sweet.
it was Sean, right?
Yeah, it's Sean.
Awesome. It was really nice to meet you,
nice
man.
to meet you
I
guys.
hope you have a great day.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming on the
No
podcast.
worries.
How do you cope with the uncertainties of life?
I cope with the uncertainties of life by having a really good community. I think like between my family, my church, my gym, my professors, I think everyone has a lot of lived experience that
Yeah.
they can help you with. And I would say start engaging in your community and start networking with them, and don't be afraid of just being vulnerable and asking them questions. So yeah.
Awesome. So basically, don't be afraid of reaching out and asking for help when needed. Awesome. And is that how you've got about any mishaps that have happened in your life? Just not being afraid to reach out and ask for a helping hand?
And the people who love you the most will give you the most critical advice, and you just kind of have to be accepting of that and knowing that they love you and they want what's best for you, and just trying to internalize that for yourself.
Awesome. And what was your name?
Tristan.
Tristan. Nice to meet you, man. My name is Roman. And this is
Giselle.
Giselle.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So today the question is, how do you cope with the uncertainties of life?
Well, I think everything in life has challenges, right? But I speak a second language. Can you elaborate your question less tactic, like less, a easy language?
Yes,
me?
for sure. So how do you deal with difficulties, or like when life gets hard? How do you cope? How do you cope?
Well, it's easy. Everything in life. My grandma used to say, everything in life has a solution. The only thing doesn't have a solution is the death. So when I come with difficulties in my life, I came from a very poor country, Honduras, and I came to a different country without speaking the language, without knowing nobody. I didn't have family here. I still don't have family. It took me a while to get friends, but everything in life, you can conquer everything that you put a mind on. If you are positive about everything, that universe is going to give you everything slowly. But of course, you're going to challenge a lot of difficulties, but you can definitely do it because we're humans, right? We do a lot of stupid things, but at the same time, we're young, but at the same time, we want to be successful. But for that, you need to concentrate on what is meaningful in your life.
Exactly.
That's what I did.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
it's just putting faith in the process and knowing that everything will be fine in the end.
Yes.
Awesome.
After the 2 years of my culture shock, I realized that I'm powerful. I can do whatever I have in my mind. I didn't have that possibilities in my home country, but now I am an LPN course. I did ESL for 3 years. I come to the gym. I have a part-time job. I'm a full-time student. I'm still challenging a lot of things.
That's awesome.
And I think everything is possible with that. With God always.
Yes.
You always put your faith in God, and He will provide everything for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm really happy for you. That's awesome to hear.
Thank
And
you.
your English is awesome. So
Thank you.
there's
I'll
nothing
keep it
to worry
up.
about that. Yeah. Awesome. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too,
Perfect.
and good luck.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Hello, welcome back. My name is Roman, and today we're sitting with
Sam.
Sam. And the question for today, like I said earlier, is how do you cope with the uncertainties in life?
All right, so it's a very broad question, I guess, like how to cope with those uncertainties. But for my background, I'm current active military, and there's like a lot of uncertainties in that job. So I guess you really got to think about, like, we call it like a 3-foot world, right? So like you can only control things that are within 3 feet in front of you, and if you look down, that's about 3 feet for like most people. So if you can try to control what you can control in that 3-foot world, usually you're less stressed about things that you can't control, and then less stress overall, right? So that is so you control yourself, essentially. Control what you can, whatever's tangible. And if you can do that, then you can deal with most things that pop up and most uncertainties that are thrown your way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that mindset because it's just dealing with what's in your area, and anything outside of that, you can acknowledge it, but just understand that it's not certain.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And how has that mindset helped you in difficult situations?
Well, again, like with the job, like you'll get thrown into a lot of like uncertain scenarios,
Of course.
right? I've been doing it for a little while now, so seen a little bit, and when you have very high stress environments that you're being put into, you can't stress out about, what this guy is saying, what she's saying, what he's saying, what they're saying back at home, whatever, right? You just got to focus on what the task is at the moment, right? So it just centers your focus is what it does.
Okay.
Right? Because otherwise you're not going to be efficient. You're not going to be able to achieve whatever goal that you have in front of you if you're getting distracted by every single car that passes by, right? I can see that I'm wearing shoes right now, shoes I can probably run in. So, I can control how fast or how quick I got to get away from something, right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Control my outfit. I control how I'm talking to you,
Yep.
right? Control how I'm sitting, my posture, right?
Yep.
And that's all you really got to worry about, and you should be good to go.
And how, because I know some people do tend to get caught up on the past or stuck on the future, and it's not an easy thing to do to just be here and now. So how have you been able to promote that mindset for yourself and really enforce it in your every day-to-day life?
So, realistically, I feel like you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail at a lot of things, especially for the first time. Like you're new at podcasting, maybe the video doesn't go as viral as you want it to be, right? So like if you do have those failures that pop up, you can't fixate on them, and that's what obviously that presentness, right? That 3-foot world. That's what solves. Is you're not looking at what happened 10 minutes ago, 2 weeks ago, right? You're just focused on what's happening right now. And then if you're talking about the future, if like you're thinking about, oh, how many likes am I going to get on this post, right? And that's all you're thinking, you're missing a lot of the world around you, what's happening at this moment,
Yep.
right? You're focused on so many things that don't matter.
Yep.
Future, past, that don't matter, right? It's just what's happening right
Yeah.
now. And you'll be happier at the end of the day. You know what I mean? If you do that, so.
Awesome. Well, man,
Yeah.
really appreciate your insight.
Hey,
and
man.
thank you for your
Thanks,
service.
And yeah, good
It's
luck.
been really nice meeting you,
Yeah,
and
man.
I hope you have a
Nice
great
meeting
rest of your day,
What's
man.
your name?
How do you cope with the uncertainties of life?
How do I cope with the uncertainties of life? Well, I focus on today and give thanks that I'm alive for this day. And I learned quite a few years ago, I'm a young elder, and I learned to don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow has its own worries. And that's from the book of Matthew in the Holy Bible. That's how you never know what, we might not even live to see another minute, and you could get hit by a car or something. So don't worry about stuff like that. But enjoy what's happening today.
So acknowledging that the uncertainties will always be uncertain, and just dealing with what you know is certain, which is now.
Right, correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
And how is that in times of difficulty? What do you do to cope with those uncertainties that may come along that aren't the best?
That aren't the best? Well, going back to Y2K, when they figured, the world figured everything, the power outage and everything, where I come from the Saddle Lake First Nation, we got prepared. Like if there was no power, it's true. There's going to be no lights. Like I grew up in that era where there was no power, no gas. We burnt wood, we burnt lamps, And you got to prepare for things like that. Like we cut wood for the whole reserve. I used to work there for security, and we cut lots of wood for every household.
Yeah.
And we delivered that wood, and every house got a little heater, a stove, wood stove. So, because this was in the winter and was like the New Year, that was January 1st, 2000, and it's in the winter time, people would freeze to death if the power went out. So that's something that you got to look at, possible things like that, power outage. A lot of us older people, we lived in that era where we didn't have the commodities we have today. So be happy with what you have, and you don't believe how rich we are compared to when we were growing up. And I come from a big family, and we had to work hard, help each other when our parents went out to work to make money for us. My older siblings used to take care of us younger ones. So you gotta help each other out and care for one another. So when there is uncertainty that does happen, that's the thing you gotta help. Do your act of kindness to some other individual when you see they're having problems. That's all I have to say.
That's all. That's amazing
Yes.
advice.
Beautiful.
Yes, we really appreciate it. Thank you
Yes.
so much for coming on the podcast.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I hope that helps people.
No, I'm sure it
Because
will.
a lot of young people, they don't even pray nowadays. They don't believe, they're atheists. they're materialistic,
Yeah.
And nice clothes and that, even a walker. There was no such thing as walkers. And this is my pal right now. I can't walk. I gotta wait for my surgeries, but it helps. And I can't stand very long as you age. They say the golden years. Well, it sure ain't golden to a lot of us. Okay, that's
It sure
all
seems
I
like
say.
you're making the most of it, though.
Well, I have to make the most
Yes.
of what you have and give thanks for what you have, and don't look at what you don't have. Yeah. Okay.
Amazing. Really
Okay.
appreciate it. You've been awesome.
All
Thank you
right,
very
okay,
much.
You're welcome.
Yes, I hope you have a
great weekend.
You as well. Hello, and we're back once again with a new guest. My name's Roman, by the way. And what's your name?
I'm Cheryl.
Cheryl. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Roman.
Yeah, so the question today, like I briefly explained to you before, is how do you cope with the uncertainties of life? So if you just want to give some insight into how you do that personally.
Well, in these past, couple of 3 years or so, and ever since COVID, people have had to cope in so many different ways which they weren't ever used to. And now I just got to the point where I just take it day by day, and whatever comes, if I can deal with it, fine, and if I can't, I find somebody that can help me do that. And I
Okay.
think some folks that are having problems dealing with it should maybe seek some help. I mean, there's lots of free advice out there nowadays, so yeah.
Awesome. So you would just say take it day by day as it comes, deal with things in the present moment.
Exactly.
And not
exactly.
worry about the past or worry about the
You know what? You can't
future.
change the past, and the future's not here yet to deal with it. So yeah, just take it day by day because it's here, and
Awesome.
it's and it's reality. So
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people are scared to reach out for help. How has that experience been for you, just being able to be vulnerable and asking for that assistance when you need it?
That is the hardest thing to do, is take that first step and say, hey, look, I really do need to talk to somebody. And if you have access to your phone with the internet or a computer, then just go online. There's toll-free numbers that you can call. They'll speak to you over the phone. There's lots of free places that will help you. And it's tough, but you just got to do it if you're having problems coping with something that you just can't seem to cope with. So, yeah.
No, definitely. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast
Thank you.
today. It was some amazing insight once again.
thank you.
Really appreciate it. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Roman.
Awesome. I
Thank
hope you have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. How do you cope with the uncertainties of life?
That is an interesting question.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would just say, coming from a guy who's a Christian, I feel that the best way is to have some sort of support, someone to lean on in times of trouble. For me, it's God and people at my church, but for others, that might be something else.
That's awesome. And how do you achieve that support from your community?
Just by reaching out, telling them, because I got a lot of close friends I got a lot of people who I can rely on and talk to about my struggles, because a lot of the guys are like me in a sense. They're just trying to go through. They're going through life, and they're trying their best to get through the things of the day to day, essentially.
Yeah.
So my best advice is just to find support, reach out. I would also say not to isolate yourself, because it's when you isolate yourself, I know from personal experience, when you isolate yourself, it just does more harm than good.
Yeah. Awesome, man. And so you would say the main key point, because this is the same as what Tristan said, the previous guy, is just to not be afraid of being vulnerable and reaching out to people that love you, that will be willing to support you in those hard times?
Yes.
Awesome. And that has done well for you in the past?
Yes.
Awesome, man. That's great to hear. And what's your name?
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. Nice to meet you, man. Really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Awesome. Have a good day. Thank you very much for all of you guys for tuning in today to episode number 4 of Enlighten the Youth. Please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and follow and rate if you're on Spotify. And let me know how you enjoy this type of content down below or in the poll. Thank you.